Hello, people of the interwebs. It is I, K-pop junkie. I'm here with the lovely Frank Martin. How are you doing, Frank?
Doing fabulous on this Friday. I'm
Yes.
As soon as we're done here, it's movie night in the Martin household. We're gonna we call it movie night, but we watch a lot of TV too. So my family's hooked on House, so we're working our way through the second season.
Very cool. I have not fully watched that. I've seen episodes here and there. I really loved the horror movies, House 1 and 2, back in the day. That was the best. Some good stuff right there. I think on this Friday, we might be the only two people not at Heroes Con.
I've never been, but I hear it's a good con. I hear it's very comics centered.
Oh, so we've, in this community, probably have about 100 YouTubers going that I know of. Yeah, it was massive. There was about 60 to maybe 100 last year, so they're trying to double it this year. They're going bananas in there. I've already seen some pictures. They've been partying galore.
It's on the bucket list. I'll make it down there one year.
Yeah, I might want to try going next year. Is probably going to be my goal because it's been a great year so far. Super great. Yeah. I know we're lovely. And I actually read all the PDFs that you sent me, so we can have some fun chatting about your stuff.
I don't even remember what I sent you, so it should be fun. It was a while ago.
Perfect. I know. We set this up so long ago. I don't remember.
That's what you do when you're making comics. You're always living in the future.
This is true. You're always hustling, and you're always, getting your work sent out there, and going on these kind of podcasty things. Which is
I'm a narcissist. I could talk about myself all day.
Well, perfect. That's why you're here. Nice. Speaking of that, let's make it weird. There we go. Hi, Frank. How are you?
Hi.
Hi. We're going to give it a couple seconds for people to start trickling in, but we'll see how this goes because I think everybody and their mother is at Heroes Con right now. So we got GT. What's up, GT? We have Awesome. What is up, Awesome? And Jason clocking all the way at work. What's up, Jason? How are you? Yeah, we're going to get party started. We also have Brandon. Brandon, you're not heading down there this year? It's also comic-y dude. All right. We finally got some people rolling in here. So let's see. Frank, would you like to give yourself an introduction to the people that are watching?
Sure. My name is Frank Martin. I'm an author and comic creator. I've written a bunch of novels. I've written a bunch of comics. And I don't really have a particular specialty. I bounce all over the place. I've written detective stories and horror stories and fantasy stories and comedy stories and pretty much anything my writing ADHD brain takes me. So I get an idea and I just run with it. Doesn't matter where it is.
Nice. I think that might also be why I never finish full art pieces. So they keep jumping around in new ones.
I finish stuff. The problem is I forget to put stuff out. I have about 24 comic scripts just sitting on my computer that are not made. I have another half a dozen novel manuscripts that I finish and then I forget I have to submit this to someplace to put it out. I just move on to the next one. So
one of these days you'll get them all out there. But did you get started writing in the novels or the comic side?
Prose. I definitely started with the prose side simply because it was just how the easiest way for me to storytell, right? So I was a little kid and I wanted to tell stories. I wanted to write fan fiction, all this stuff, but I couldn't draw. And I didn't have the wherewithal at the time to go online and find artists and work with artists. So I was like, you know what? Easiest way, just open a computer and start writing. So I definitely started in the prose side. And it wasn't until right after college that I had a comic script on my computer because I took one of those comic writing classes. And when my son was born, I was finally like, you know what? I've been writing all my life. I finally want to make this a career. And the same thing hit with the comic script. I'm sitting on my computer forever. My son is born. It's a reason to kick myself in the butt and try to get this comic produced. And I just never looked back.
So far, everything that I've read, each one of your comics, that is, had a unique perspective on what was happening in there. Some were you ventured into like, you know, kind of like children's bookish, but also like horror stuff and then like adult themed things. But it was interesting to me how you had like the fourth wall breaking, or how you had the choose your own adventure and the twist at the end. I dug all of that stuff. It's great.
I think some people, when they set out to make something, they put genre first, or they put like the box it fits in first. They're like, I want to write a horror story. And I don't really never set out to make a particular thing. I start with an idea, and then wherever that idea winds up is what the story is. So sometimes I try to, I accidentally wrote 2 romantic comedies. I didn't mean to do it. They just kind of happened because the story I wanted to tell fell into that category.
That's interesting. Now, I remember it was like, maybe last year when you guys did all of the hospice.
Yes,
like
that was
you and Travis. Yeah, you guys did a bunch of those all at once. And I didn't back it at the time because I was so overwhelmed with a lot of other stuff that was happening in my life. But I read the one that you have, the hospice one. Mm-hmm. I love that. And I want to go pick that up. Do you know if that's going to be in a collected trade edition or something?
Yes, we've been talking about that a lot. We have like back channel discourse between all the creators, and it eventually will be coming. And then we've been talking about doing like another round of stories, bringing in new creators, expanding the universe a bit, and kind of keeping this theme going because it's fun. It's a lot of fun.
That one was probably my favorite read. I am really big into, first of all, crime serial killer stuff. I'm big into like the weird horror movies. I loved every bit and piece of that, and the artist that drew that did such a phenomenal job. Oh, they nailed every one of those characters. It was so good.
So I did a story with Claudio is his name. I did a story with him earlier called Malady. I don't know if I sent that one to you, but
no.
It's about an alcoholic who every time he takes a drink, he becomes more and more monstrous. He turns into a physical monster, but everybody around him acts like he still looks the same. So it's this weird situation of this giant monster and everybody's treating him like a bum. And it's a very dark, seriously depressing story. It's like a real drama, morbid horror thing. And when I started with hospice, I'm like, Claudio is so good at horror, and I put him into this very depressing, serious story. Let me like have a fun horror story. And that's what hospice is. You know, it's fun horror. It knows exactly what it is, and it leans very heavily into that gratuitous nature of the genre.
Yes. And I was like, okay, it's totally not have anything to do with this, but the way that the art style was, it gave me, plus the writing, it kind of reminded me of like the Seven movie.
Yes.
So it's like that kind of dark, but also that kind of like plot twisting, like you're like, oh, what is happening? That kind of good stuff.
For those who don't know, my hospice story, it's basically about a serial killing cannibal who goes into a hospice to live out the rest of his life. But the hospice is also deranged too, so they kind of favor to his cannibalism a little bit. And he's eating meals, and it's funny how when you write a panel, you never know exactly how it's going to turn out. But Claudio put so many weird details of him like drooling as he's chewing and these close-ups, and it's like he knew the assignment, and he nailed it. So I really had fun with that book.
My favorite thing, because he's kind of that like the glutton guy from Seven. Like he's giant guy. So you in there, you put 666 pounds, which is hilarious because
it's tongue in cheek because I know what it is. So I'm like,
yes. Okay. My favorite part though, because this added to the craziness of the serial killer, was how. So it's Claudio.
Claudio's the artist.
Okay. So how he drew the face, but he drew that demented mouth that fits in like with his face. Oh my god, I love that. It was so good.
Yeah, I definitely when I need like crazy horror stuff or monster stuff, I let him go loose. And in Malady too, by the end of the story, the guy is completely wasted, so he turns this huge demonic looking monster thing. And he's like, do you have any direction for me? And I just said, go nuts. Like, just go wild. Make the most monstrous thing you could think of. And it's a great scene in the book.
Oh, it's so good. That was one of the ones that called to me off your website that I was looking at because I was browsing all your comics and novels. Because you have so many more than I thought you did because you sent me this stuff. But they all look fantastic. And I like that you kind of jump around to different genres because I do that all the time when I read stuff.
I I write what I like, and I like everything. You know, I don't really I don't there's not one type of story that I don't like. I like to just explore and challenge myself, and sometimes that means stepping outside the box and doing something completely different. So if you do 6 launches a year and you multiply that by a couple years I've been doing this, eventually you you got a pretty big back catalog.
You sure do. We got a couple more people in chat. Also, yes, no Heroes Con. Yeah, poor boy. Exactly. My thoughts for this year. It was rough.
Maybe we'll get lucky and a bunch of people won't go on Friday. They're waiting for the weekend.
You know, that might happen. They're flat tires and all that stuff. I know Saturday is going to be the big day, but yeah, I've never been there, but I've heard nothing but good things about it for the last couple of years. And what's up, Casey? How are you doing? And what's up, Kev? Yes. Happy Friday to me and my buttholes.
Plural buttholes.
Yes, all the ones that are here are buttholes. Yes, morbid horror. You can't go wrong with that. And I know Kev is also a horror artist as well. So yes, you know what I'm talking about. You know what I'm talking about.
Eating his tongue in cheek.
Welcome back, awesome. Yes.
I mean, when you talk about I'm saying like I love every genre and I love every story, but something I feel most comfortable with is definitely serial killer horror. You know, like you were saying that there's something about getting in that depraved mindset that's just like I don't know, it just feels comfortable. I was talking about this with my wife the other day, and I forget how the conversation was drawn up, but we was talking about like, yeah, when you're a writer, you think about how to get away with murder. It's just what you do. If I'm writing a story about a serial killer who needs to get away with this stuff, you imagine it in your head. And as like a regular person, that's kind of scary, but you know, it is all those serial killer stories, somebody has to think of this stuff. So
yeah. And it's really fascinating too, because when you think about like the serial killer horror type thing, to me, that is more relatable. So because it's relatable, you know, with some of the characters, and it's like you could feel like that could happen to you at any time. So it makes it kind of scarier in that sense. Like, you know, okay, a ghost. You don't know if those are real or not, but you can believe in them. But actual serial killers and crimes that happen in like real time, that's kind of terrifying.
Yeah, it's I love those shows. Hannibal was a great one. That really kicked it off. Like you said, Seven, another serial killer show. I don't know, it was a movie. I wrote a serial killer novel, another one that's just sitting on my computer. It hasn't been published, but I wrote it as an epistolary novel. You know what those are?
No, tell me.
That's like Dracula is an epistolary novel in that the chapters aren't written as standard prose, but they're written as documents, in-universe documents.
Oh, okay.
So like one chapter is a newspaper clipping. I have a lot of transcripts in there, emails, like judge decisions in court cases. So you use these in-universe documents to tell the story. And doing that with a serial killer as like a procedural crime kind of thing was a lot of fun. And I made it, and I just kind of forgot about it. It's fun, but you know what? The couple publishers that I sent it to, it's a hard sell, you know, to tell people, look, I wrote this very awesome novel, but it's weird, and publishers don't like to take chances on weird. So eventually, someday, we'll see the light of day.
That's a shame, because the weird stuff is where it's at. All the weirdo, like off the rack type thing, that's where I lie when I read novels and stuff. I fell really deeply hard to the young adult, like paranormal romance section. Never thought I'd be there. Yeah.
I get it though. I mean, at the end of the day, these things have to make money. And the way they make money is by looking in the past and seeing what made money before. So a lot of these companies, they like to ride waves, not make them. And if they take a risk on something new, it is a risk. And you look at those seminal works that kind of create those huge waves. I mean, you just have stuff like Harry Potter. It was after Harry Potter, there was an explosion of like kid magical adventures. And then you were saying paranormal romance and stuff. Twilight was like that trendsetter. And after it, a whole swarm of paranormal romance stuff came. So, you know, you try to catch that lightning in the bottle, and it's a lot of publishers don't want to take risk on it because it's few and far between.
Which is a shame, because I love that stuff.
It is great. A shame because one more chance is taken on me.
Listen, publishers, I know you're watching. Give him a chance. He's awesome.
Yeah, Kickstarter's been good to me so far. So as long as I keep doing it's a double-edged sword because when I self-publish, I get to do what I want. If I have to follow a publisher who's got me under contract and stuff, I got to do what they want, which is I don't like being told what to do. So
Rebel, I like it. But yeah, it's also interesting too because the last couple of years, like I see a lot of like the offers that I've been reading for like the last like 20 years, they're bringing a book to Kickstarter now, or like a crowdfunding platform. So that's been interesting to see how like that kind of world has been changing, and it's kind of opening up a lot more doors for like the weird and the horror and the random stuff.
It's like, yeah, number one, you have a lot more freedom. And number two, there's a lot of power in direct to consumer, you know, without having that middleman selling right to people. You get feedback right from people. And it's just, it's strange to try to break into the direct market at the beginning of my career. And I struggled with it. And then I found an audience on Kickstarter. And then all of the publishers that I had trouble getting work with are now coming to Kickstarter after me. It's because it's such a great platform. Give you that. It's just nice to have somebody directly back your work and you send it right to them. It cuts out distribution and retailers and all that other logistics that can get in the way.
Yeah, because that's all like a lot of the hard stuff that I think a lot of people when they get to like their comics, they don't think past that part. They're like, oh, we got it ready. It's ready to go. They don't think about printers. They don't think about the shipping costs. Shipping something across country or out of the country, that's crazy expensive. And you really need to plan your
you have to budget. Treat every single Kickstarter campaign like its own business, you know, like its own thing that needs to turn a profit. You got to look at expenses. And so a lot of creators, they see other creators doing well on Kickstarter and they're like, let me go to that. But there's a difference between being a great creator and being a great business person. And in order to run a campaign, you have to have a business sense. You just do. Otherwise, you'll be underwater before you know it.
Yes, exactly. And then Kev is bringing up Dexter, Kill La Kill.
Dexter's another great one.
Also, Brandon, comfortable with serial killer stuff. He's watching you, Frank.
That's fine. I do a lot of stupid stuff besides serial killer stuff. That's just where I feel more comfortable. You know, if I'm writing a story and I'm writing a story about a serial killer and I have to get into a killer's head, it's just warm and fuzzy in there, you know?
It's kind of fascinating too to think about the aspects of how, why, when they do, because okay, a lot of people think of just serial killers, okay, there's going wrong. No. Most of the time it's planned out in advance. Most of the time there's a reason for somebody picking a victim that they pick in there. And that's fun how you get into those mechanics.
One of the great scenes in Dexter was, spoiler alert for the show that's been a great show that's been out for years. After his wife dies, he feels very restrained, right? Because Dexter's all about planning and he doesn't really show emotion after his wife dies, and he ends up killing a guy in a bathroom on a whim, and his hallucination of a father figure tells him that's the most human thing you've done since she died, was just lash out at this guy in a bathroom who like crossed him. And it was so great because Dexter's all about not getting caught. He has to plan everything, and this is the spur of the moment murder of passion. That was a moment that really stood out to me because it went against that serial killer mindset of planning everything out. So
yeah. Hey Legend, how are you doing? Thank you. Yes, conventions are a great way to find people and expand your audience, especially if you're just meeting up with other creators. Like I love what you guys created with the hospice. And how many creators did you have, and how many like Kickstarters did you have going at the same time for that? It was a lot.
Six. So for those who don't know what hospice was, we planned this a year and a half in advance. 6 creators got together and we had this very vague idea of a brand of hospice that takes in sinful people with the goal of ushering in demons out of them as they die. That's the general idea. And everybody, all 6 creators, took that concept and wrote their own story, their own kind of corner of this universe, this shared universe. And over the course, I think we did it in September last year. We launched 2 campaigns every week, and we had cross promotions and all sorts of cool stuff going on. It was like hospice took over Kickstarter for the month of September.
It did.
Yeah, it was a lot of fun. We all had connecting covers for all 6 of our campaigns. That if you back them all, you got this thing. Oh, that was another thing. If you back them all, you get this cool little hospice looking key card that's like meant for a door key, and I think it has a QR code on it that gave you digital access to all the books. So it was like you always have that. You always have access to the books. We did little things like that were cool. I commissioned a guy to create an in-universe like radio spot for the hospice, like the brand of hospice, and
it was so much fun to read that. I was like, oh
yeah. So yeah, my story was about I always wanted to write a story about the Catskill Cannibal. I'm from New York. I love writing about places that I've visited: Colorado, Florida, New York, and the New York area. And Catskills was one of them. And I wanted to write a serial killer about Catskill Cannibal. So when Travis eventually approached me with this idea, I thought like I could merge these two. I could take Catskill Cannibal and hospice and put the two together. And it was great. It was great. Yeah, creating an obese serial killing cannibal.
Oh, the whole thing from front to end, when I was reading that, it just had me glued to each and every page. And I was like, oh, this is so good. Yeah, no, I am expecting way more things out of that universe because there's you do all kinds of things with it.
You can, yeah.
So good.
When people say you can't write, you can't. Nobody's gonna love a single story. Like there's gonna be people who like a story, people who don't like it. But my goal is to write at least one story that everybody will enjoy. So I guess for you, that story is hospice.
Well, there was a couple of them that I really, really, really loved, but yeah, the serial killer / horror vibe, demons. What? That's my go-to.
I have the most horror books. I think I'm a Blockbuster kid, so I just rented everything in the horror section. So I definitely have the most horror, or I should say, the most amount of comics I've written fit into that horror box. But it's a big box. I could break it down further. I have gothic horror, and then dramatic horror, and then gratuitous horror like hospice. I have buddy adventure horror and like weird, obscure Twilight Zone horror. So you could narrow it down and niche it down even further. So horror's got a lot of flavors.
It does. And I'm excited because if you have not noticed, I'm huge into the horror weirdo peeps. And speaking of horror weirdo peeps, there's a whole bunch of them in the chat. And Joe says, yeah, you had a lot of projects. You have a lot of novels and comics, short stories. You have a lot of things happening.
I do. I tend to write a lot. I just do. It's funny you say that. So I'm doing a convention in November. It's a horror and tattoo convention. They're combining it. So I want to try to do like conventions that are out of the box. So I think that would I might be like the only comic creator there. You got to be, if you're the only one,
work your market. I mean, Pat Shan goes to porn conventions because he's got the adult film industry back at his stuff. I mean,
God bless him. That sounds like a hell of a time.
Yeah, exactly. Yes, John Lithgow is a Trinity killer. That was a great. He plays a good one. He's another one that can play goofy or serious.
Yeah, he's a fantastic actor. I watched when he cheated on the wife. I recently watched the revival, the Dexter revival.
Okay.
Have you seen that?
I have not seen that, so I'm interested to hear about it.
It was it had its pros and cons. I'll just put it that way.
Okay.
There were some parts of it I liked, some parts I didn't. And I'll leave it at that. Okay. If you haven't seen it, I don't want to go too much into
That's all right. I'll still watch it because it's I gotta finish. I hate if I start something, I don't care how crappy the movie or show is. I'm one of the guys that like you have to finish it to see what happens. I cannot not finish something. So yeah, I'll end up having to do that.
It's very rare that I just abandon something entirely. It has to be pretty bad.
Oh, I've started some stuff like 20 times and I finally got through it. I don't care. I'll chug through it. I'm a trooper.
I do the same thing with my writing. If I start a story, I'm like, I have writing OCD too. So if it starts, it's got to be finished at some point.
Yeah. Like I have a pile of like 6 things next to me that I have to finish line work on, but that's okay. I'm getting there. I'm doing something. Yeah. Things are hanging with us last night. We were on a late night insomniac pile. We went to like 6 a.m. Well, I bounced at 6 a.m. So I don't know how late you guys stayed on, but yeah, you guys were rambunctious as hell. And no, he has read your stuff. He thinks you're a great writer.
Thank you. I can't imagine Malady being in the big two, but you know it's very funny you say that because I just hit up Claudio to draw a 5-page Swamp Thing story that I wrote, and I'm going, and a buddy of mine is doing like a massive Batgirl comic, so I'm gonna like throw it in there and tack it in there, and we're gonna. He wants to do a indie does DC and have a whole bunch of indie creators make bootleg DC superheroes. Well, that's
awesome, and I have a feeling that everybody in my chat right now would back that because 1, they like DC, 2, they like hot dogs, and 3, they're weirdos that get it done. Yes, great. Yes, Kelly is also awesome at personas, and he is one of the champs on the Hunt at the moment, which is a comic book wrestling group, and they battle each other with books and have personas. I know, it's amazing. Oh yes, you know about the Curiosity and Oddities conventions?
I do not.
They're getting pretty big, and they travel around the whole, like all over the states. Sometimes they have multiple things, but it's all about weird, random stuff. You get like artisans, art people, crafters, all kinds of stuff. It's all just like weird, odd stuff that you wouldn't normally find anywhere. It's amazing.
I'll have to check it out. I got the website up right now.
Yeah, awesome. Yeah, they come to like Novi Center where they do a lot of the cons here, but yeah, horror cons have been some of my favorite cons to go to so far. I've enjoyed all of them. Fast mix of art. Sinister Creature Con out here. Yeah, you're all the way out in Cali, right?
I am in New York.
Cali is out in
Cali's
Cali.
out. Yeah. Well, it makes sense.
It does, yes. But
well, you know what's great about HorrorCon is that horror fans love the little stuff. You know, yes. If you go to comic conventions, people want to see the big stuff. And they're less likely to focus on the little stuff. But when it comes to horror, people are like, I don't care. Big, small, medium, unknown. They just want to be thrilled. So I appreciate that about horror fans.
They're dedicated, too. Like, you can pull up a movie. They will timestamp it and be like, hey, this scene, blah, 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 blah. And they will notice the smallest, tiniest, like, itty-bitty detail ever and then bring that up. Like, make a fandom around it. It's amazing. It is dead on. Yes, Kelly. Yes. Thank you for being part of the chat. Yes.
I think horror fans have such an appreciation for the genre because of the roots of the genre. You know, it's like it was born out of independent filmmaking. I love watching the Netflix show, the movies that made us.
Oh, yeah.
And it's great when they did Halloween. I think they did Halloween and Nightmare on Elm Street, and they did the Friday the 13th one was great because they were like straight up saying, we're just going to knock off Halloween. That was our goal from the very beginning, to make our own slasher flick. And they're just a ragtag group of people just making a movie. And it eventually grew into a world-class franchise. And it's like, it's crazy how that happened. They were talking about having blood with like pumping it with a handheld pump, just spewing out. And Mrs. Voorhees the actress didn't even show up until like the last day of filming. It's kind of crazy to think how these things that they just get out there, they make the movies super low budget and they almost never happen and they turn around and become seminal works.
It's amazing too, because some of those, like Kelly and I, are huge. So is Kev. One of our favorite movies is Killer Clowns from Outer Space.
Great one.
Amazing how like big of a cult following like one of those cheesy 70s and 80s movies will have. So much so that it's so relevant now that they either come up with a new game or they're making a whole brand new movie or something around it. And that is amazing that the fans are that dedicated to me.
I remember that movie very well, watching it as a kid. And I remember, what is the movie? It's not Goonies, but the
Monster Squad.
What was the Monster Squad? I say Goonies because I look at the creature and it looks like a Goonie, but they come out of the toilet. And all these weird Ghoulies, there you go. Yes. Oh, they like all these weird movies that I remember watching from Blockbuster, just going down the line, just kind of one after another.
Oh, right there on my wall is Sorority Babes and a Slime Ball Bolorama. And you have the little imp guy who comes out of a bowling trophy and causes chaos and is the most amazing little dude. It's great.
They try to be gratuitous and push the bounds of what's possible and what's what's good on the screen. So I love that kind of risky horror mindset of just let's just do it, throw it against the wall and see if it works.
I watched one of the worst movies of all time. I think it was Kung Fu and Titties, and it was about this crappy MMA fighter. His lady gets abducted by like space aliens or something. This weird thing. And then Bronson Pinchot is there and he guides them through the way. And it's like, the hell is this? It makes no sense. But you're like, this is very, very crappy. But you also kind of really like it at the same time.
It's kind of like a bad car crash,
bizarre.
you know. You just
can't look away, and you're like, wait a minute, this is so stupid. I gotta keep looking to see what else other dumb stuff comes in.
So I watched recently. I was never an Evil Dead fan, so I put myself down and made myself watch all of the Evil Dead movies.
Yes,
and then I watched Ash versus Evil Dead, and I write some articles for comiccon.com, and one of the articles I wrote was that like this show. It represents a genre of horror that's like we're gonna reject CGI storytelling of doing that and just practical effects. You know, horror fans they appreciate the thought and the effort put into practical effects for that very reason. And I'm like, it was a Stars show, and they did CGI in some parts when they had to, but you could tell that they really put the effort forward to keep this as practical as possible. And you just appreciate it so much more when you're watching it.
I will 1000% back another project by anyone that works in like a film or a series where they rely heavily more on practical effects and making things look better than relying on fast CGI. Because some of my favorite things ever have been the behind the scenes of like monster creation, puppetry. Like I figured out how to build Muppets because of my love for all of Jim Henson stuff. Like I'm not even kidding. Like I was making random stuff everywhere. But some of my favorite things, like okay, so the Hellraiser movies, the newest one that came out, it wasn't the best, but it made it kind of fascinating because of the practical effects that were in it and some of the tricks that they did. And if you go back and watch the behind the scenes of how they did that one where like the skin comes apart like that, it is just mind-blowing, amazing on so many different levels.
I had a good time with that movie. I definitely did.
Yeah.
I think I grew up in kind of when the Hellraiser movies were really starting to get ridiculous. And so to see the franchise, you know, come back to its roots a little bit about what it's really about was kind of cool to see. And I liked it. I did.
It was great.
I also watched it when the year it came out. I did a little back-to-back little creature feature. I went trick-or-treating with my kids, and then we came back and we watched Werewolf by Night, which again another one, phenomenal. And then they went to bed, and then I watched Hellraiser right after that. So that was a very fun Halloween. Yeah, and then afterwards,
that was a good Halloween. Yeah.
So Marvel does these on Disney Plus. They have these unassembled, I think they're called, where they're basically the behind the scenes documentaries of all the Marvel movies.
Okay.
And for Werewolf by Night, they did something a little different, where they had the director's brother is a documentarian filmmaker. And so basically he just followed his brother around during the filming, and he did his own documentary on it. And it was so cool to see, like, this was just a guy who grew up in the 80s with his camera, and he was just filming with his friends, like in the high school parking lots. And one of the cool little detail about it was they did a sci-fi movie with lasers. They were shooting lasers at each other, and the way they did lasers was he took the actual film and was putting scratches on it, so it looked like the lasers. And now this guy is growing up and he's making Marvel movies with Man-Thing. So it was just a really cool, nostalgic little behind the scenes documentary.
Oh, I love that kind of stuff. And listen, Angry, you and I are gonna become besties. I'm gonna tell you right now, because Monster Squad is one of my favorite movies of all time. Not only do I have that, I have a whole bunch of line art over there that I'm gonna be doing in RIP to Horace, and I actually have the bootleg as Monster Squad, the Wolfman's Nards. It's one of my most prized possessions.
It's a good movie. It's definitely a fun movie. I might get some flack for this, but I'm disappointed that the Universal monster verse that they were trying to make never got realized. You know, it might have been bad, but I still wanted to see it anyway. Okay. You know,
Monster Squad. I tell people all the time, it is my favorite Universal monster movie outside of Universal Monsters. the way that they interpret those, it made you feel like you were watching those initial Unimons movies again. And I loved the vibe that gave me. And I wish there was more of that. And it's a shame we didn't get more, but you don't never know. It's amazing.
Marvel horror characters, I would love. Yeah, Marvel horror is definitely.
Yeah.
I think it beats DC horror, to be honest with you. But Man-Thing is one of my favorite characters. I would love to write a Man-Thing story at some point.
Oh, Kev here is probably the most biggest fan for Man-Thing. He collects a lot of Man-Thing original art, which I still owe you. Man-Thing hot dog art. I know. I will.
I wrote a Man-Thing fan fiction that I scraped the serial numbers for, and then I released it to my audience as like a generic swamp monster story. But yeah, I love Man-Thing and Swamp Thing. I like them both for different reasons.
Hang on one second. I'm going to pull up your website real quick because I want to show off a series that Callie is talking about here. You want us to know if we already talked about Grimm Space. No, we did not talk about Grimm Space yet, and I have not read that one yet. So would you like to tell us what Grimm Space is about? And then I'll go to your website real quick.
Sure. Grimm Space, very easy series to describe. I basically take fairy, folk tales, public domain characters, and I reimagine them in a space fantasy, Star Wars-esque setting. So it started as a one-shot. Jack and the Nav Unit was Jack and the Beanstalk. And then I knew that there's an opportunity for this series to be expanded and have a whole bunch of characters and blow it up. So what I did was I laid little seeds in that one-shot, the Jack and the Nav Unit. And one of those little seeds was a character called P1 Nokia, who instead of Jack trading a cow to get his Nav Unit or the Beanstalk seeds, he took I'm gonna click that. And the website's not perfect, but
okay.
Yeah, he trades the P1 Nokia robot, and then I eventually spun that off into its own P1 Nokia book. And I recently just on Kickstarter just did the Golden Flying thingy, which was the Golden Bird, and eventually next year I'm going to do 6 campaigns, all Grimm Space, doing a whole bunch of stuff, which is 3 Little Pigs, Cinderella, I got Wizard of Oz, Peter Pan, so it's going to be a lot of fun.
Nice. No, I take that back. I did read the P1 Nokia. I liked your take on that. I like the space theme on that, but I also really like how the artist made him. Because you could tell who it was when you saw it, but it was completely different from what you would visualize as, Pinocchio type.
Yeah, it was instead of Pinocchio being a puppet, he's a robot, and he tries to go out and become a real, same kind of story. He goes out and tries to become a real boy, but with these Grimm Space tales, I try to throw twists in them, do something new, do something different, so it's just not the same story by numbers. And I'm double downing on the series. I bounce all over the place. People know me for writing a whole bunch of stuff, but I'm really going to make an effort to expand this universe, and this is going to kind of be my baby for a while.
Nice. I like that. I like that a lot. I like when you mix the fairy tales and lore and folklore and all that kind of fun stuff. That's something that I've always grown up reading, those giant bound of all of like the fairy tale classic. Those are horrific. You actually
they get very dark.
Holy, they were grim fairy tales for a reason, people. Holy hell.
Yeah, and it's going to be a lot of fun as I try to mash all these together in the same universe. Like, for instance, I'm developing a Sherlock Holmes character for the universe called Shelley Holmes, and she's going to show up in the Cinderella story. So Prince Charming loses the glass slipper, and the Detective Holmes comes in to try to find who it belongs to. So I'm having fun putting all these different spins, introducing all these different characters into classic plot lines and stuff.
I was reading some comments. A couple people in the comments saying that they like the chunky characters as well. But yeah, no, I can't wait to read more of your books and your series because they've been so fascinating to me, and I like it all. And then the Kickstarter that you have coming up is completely different take on stuff that you have written before, but it's fascinating seeing how that evolved as you're going along. I'm talking about the 4th Wallflower.
That was one book that like an idea sparked in my head one day, and I'm like, I have an idea, and then I went for a run, and I couldn't the entire run I couldn't get the idea out of my head, so I developed the story as I'm running because it was just And then I got back and I immediately started scripting. And if you've read the story, you understand what I would say when I say the main character of the book, Wally, he was literally talking to me, telling me like this story has to be told. And I think it's one of my favorite things that I've written, just because it's so weird and so fun, and it was challenging. And when it launches in July, I'm looking forward to seeing what people think of it.
Oh, that's going to be a fun interpretation, because it's like something completely just fresh, but also like it's easy to be drawn into the story and the characters.
Yeah. So let me the quick pitch for what the fourth Wallflower is, if I can even pitch it, because it's so weird. It's about a self-aware comic character who his creator is creating him, and he talks to his creator as he's being created, and then his creator has to develop a story. So it's like the creator and Wally have this dialogue of developing a story together in real time. That's the best way I can describe it. It's super weird. It's super bizarre, but it deals with comic book tropes and comic book gimmicks and all aspects, like sound effects and page turns and a whole bunch of tongue-in-cheek jokes. And at the end of the day, it does have a hard theme of like free will versus fate, because Wally is this character who's on a page. He knows he's a comic character, and he knows his story is being written by somebody else. And so he's trying to grapple with that. He doesn't have his own free will. So it becomes, I think, a pretty deep story. So I had fun with it. And you never know when you do something that weird, how it's going to respond, how it's going to be on Kickstarter, because it's not like a typical thing that does well on Kickstarter. It's super weird to try to sell it to people. But you know what? I'm not known for making smart decisions. So we'll see how it does.
I liked it. I thought it was just a very unique, just like fun story to read and see a different perspective on. And then there was a couple little plot twisty things. So I like the way that he was like Wallflower was talking between you and and him, like in the story. And he kind of like figured out like, oh, this is gonna go this way. Then may not have happened, but then
I think if people read it, they're gonna enjoy it, because it's a charming book. It's just it's hard to market something like that. I mean, what demographic is that for? So it fits into a rom-com, but it's not really a rom-com. It's for anybody who really loves reading comics. So it's just because something's a great read doesn't mean it's an easy sell. So we'll see how it goes.
All right. No, I think it'll be really fun. Right. Yeah. It sounds really fun.
It is. I mean, I'm a little biased, but I think it's fun. So.
I think it's fun too, because it also feels like, like way back in the day when Disney used to do those imagination type things, and you could see like the character getting drawn.
So I had a bunch of people critique the script and kind of review it, and there's actually it's not Disney because it's Daffy Duck, so it would be Warner Brothers. They have a Daffy Duck cartoon called Duck Amuck, and it's basically the same concept. An animator is drawing Daffy Duck, and Daffy Duck is talking to the animator during the short. So it's a very similar type of deal.
No, I think that's fun, because I know a lot of us are huge into the cartoons, and we like those kind of mechanics where you see something on there.
To tie kind of things together, the same artist that did P1 did Fourth Wallflower.
Oh, cool. Okay, so because Kelly was saying he likes Peter Pan type stuff, and he was curious about yours. So that's got to be one of your...
I am actually scripting it now, and it is a tremendous amount of fun, because I am mashing together Peter Pan with Star Trek. So Captain Hook is going to be like a little Star Trek motif. Instead of being a pirate, he's going to be a starship captain and all that. So it's very cool. It's very fun.
That sounds awesome. Let's go. Captain Hook needs more love, because if you really read the story of Peter Pan, he's the hero of that story, preventing an evil child from stealing children.
This story is told from his point of view, so it's right up your alley then.
Perfect. Doodle Bob was the best. And oh no, Figure Joy popped in here, and he's behind in chat. He just realized like he was watching like halfway between. Yeah, so that also happens to me too. So if you guys make sure you're on live chat, then kind of like it's been happening like the last couple of months, but just kind of hover over and then you'll see where the red light is and just kind of speed it up or refresh it. Cause I'll be sitting there typing to people in chat and they're like, what the hell are you talking about? I was like from half an hour ago.
The joys of technology.
Technology. Yeah, it's the best. Never Never from Heavy Metal Comics. Okay, I've never read that one. I heard really good things about it.
Yeah, that's the great things about these old stories that have withstood the test of time. They've done so for a reason, you know?
Yeah.
People, Peter Pan's got some out-of-date aspects to it, but it's still at its core, it's just a story that resonates with people, and that's why it's going to keep getting these different spins to it.
Well, I'm trying to find the one series. This one here. Okay, so this one looks also amazing. I like weird space stuff. I like weird horror stuff. I like weird motel things because I used to work in a motel.
so I have 3 launches left for the year. One is the 4th Wallflower, and then the Fart Bomb, and then a sequel to the Macabre Motel. So a follow-up to that is coming out later.
Amazing. We didn't even get into the fart book yet, but okay. Guys, did you hear this? If there's never been anyone more supposed to be on Fartist feature, it would be Frank. He's writing a fart bomb book. Hello.
So the story behind that was I was with my son one day, and he still wears pull-ups, so he farted, and the pull-up it's a training pull-up, so he was wearing it, and then he jumped up and down, and when he sat on his ass, the fart kind of just like exploded out of his pull-up.
Yeah.
He goes, "That's my fart bomb." And then we all started dying laughing, and my wife said, "You need to make a comic of that." And I think it was a dare, but I did it anyway.
Listen, I'm telling you right now.
So I made a comic it's an all ages comedy comic about my son terrorizing our family, me, my wife, my other son, and my daughter with his farts. He's weaponized his farts against us, is what the story is about. And when I say all ages, I literally mean all ages. It's not just a kid book. I'm writing it laughing to myself because it's hilarious. So I think adults will get a kick out of it too.
Yeah, no, I'm telling you right now, we already got people laughing in here. You already got like 10 backers already, just based on the trial nature of everybody in here.
You know, even if it never sells a single copy, the single fact that I was writing the script, laughing as I'm writing it was just worth the price of admission.
I thought I saw the other day you sent let me see. Was it on Twitter? I thought I saw you post one of the, here. Yes. The fart bomb kid. Here, hold on. Adorable, stinky little guy. Hold on. There we go. Wait, how do I get there? No. Oh my gosh, I'm stuck in presenting hell. Okay, hold on. Present.
Fun with StreamYard.
Technology. It's the best. There we go.
Yep, that's David. He's that's the fart bomb. So if you, it's cropped, but if you see the motion lines, he jumps over my wife and lands between us, and that's how the fart bomb comes out.
We love this kid already. We want more of him. I'm gonna tell you that right now.
So this is the second story that I've put my family into. The first one was, it didn't really put my family into, but the main character of Where the Nightmares Are was based on my daughter. It's it's an all ages horror spin on Where the Wild Things Are. And it's cool because I got this book that's based on my son. The other book, the main character is based on my daughter. And they get they don't care about all my other stuff. They don't care about a fat serial killing cannibal, but they like to see themselves in the book. So it's nice to see them get excited about the stuff that I make for once.
No, I like that. I think that's amazing. And I think that the fact that you're involving your family is hilarious. And Callie said he just did a search on Kickstarter for Fart Bomb and a card game popped up. Okay.
It's not.
I want to know the mechanics of this card game, because are you pulling a card and you have to fart on people? Because let's get this game and play this online.
You got to play while eating beans. That's the only way it would be possible.
Taco Bell, it's going to go horrendously wrong, but I'm telling you, this would be the greatest content you'll ever see in your entire life. Hold on, let me go back to your website, because I do want to get into the book that you just mentioned a second ago, because that was another one of my favorite reads right here, which is Where the Like,
typo.
night
I
typo me.
I got something to do tonight.
Where the nightmares are. It's kind of like a retelling of Where the Wild Things Are. I loved this book. I thought it was awesome. The art style went just completely meshed together with your story. And just, it was so atmospheric, especially the coloring was my favorite part.
Yeah. So this artist, we were going back and forth with ideas. And I said, I have this thing that's been rattling around in my brain for a while, and I think you'll be perfect for it. And it was just like, absolutely, yeah. So to be able to create these fantastical worlds and just have the artists go nuts doing what they do best to round them out with monsters and weird plant life, it was a lot of fun. I had a good time with this. I have a good time with all of them. So if I'm not having a good time with a book, I know something's wrong.
I get that vibe from you. Hold on 1 second. Well, I get like a million text messages. What's happening?
This was also a weird one. If you look at the cover, you'll see that it's, I mean, you read the digital, so it's a little different. But if you look at the cover, this was actually a magazine-sized book, so it was printed a little because I wanted to give it that kind of story. I wanted to give it that storybook feel to it a little, like Where the Wild Things Are. So I experimented doing a magazine-sized book, which actually was a little frustrating because I didn't realize that I had to buy magazine-sized bags and boards, Gemini mailers, and to like redo my whole inventory to ship this book.
I think it works because some of my favorite books of all times are really amazing illustrated children's books. I still have in my collection to this day that I read because that made me want to be a storyteller myself or even do art myself because of the great illustrations that you got from children's book. Alphonse Mucha is probably one of my favorite illustrators. Arthur Rockham's probably top of the line. Anything to do with him, I will grab that stuff all day long because it's fascinating. But I will be right back, so you can take over for like a hot minute. Let me.
I gotta take over talking about stuff.
Yeah, for like a couple seconds. I'll be right back.
All right.
Go, Billy Pooh.
Should I sing and dance? I can start talking about all my books. I mean, if I go on my website, let's just go down the list. Sure, why not? FrankTheWriter.com. You could sign up for my mailing list. This is going to be one hell of a monologue. So we go to comics. Let's go to one-shots. So one-shots. Macabre Motel, that we were talking about that earlier. What's that about? So it's about a guy stops at a motel, and it's kind of like simple horror movie we see all the time, Psycho and stuff. He needs a room for the night, and he runs into a weird cast of characters, and he eventually gets so freaked out he tries to leave the motel, and the weird cast of characters can't leave. So the way I describe it, it's kind of like a rabbit hole, and that the book just keeps getting weirder and weirder and weirder and weirder until you're at the bottom and you're like, this is so bizarre. And I had a good time with that. It's kind of Twilight Zone-y. The Truce is another book that doesn't get a whole lot of love, but I do like it. It's kind of my action adventure sci-fi dystopian book. It's about at the end of the world, there's these two sides that are fighting, kind of a futuristic sci-fi side and kind of like a militaristic side, and they're getting attacked by this tribe of warriors. And so they're at war, but they need to come together and form a truce to fend off this third party that threatens them both. Are you back? Do I get to stop talking?
I'm back. Yes.
I could keep going.
We're going to keep talking.
I could keep going. Cabin 818. You'll like this one because it's very Evil Dead-y. It's also meta, like the fourth Wallflower. So a character who is a comic writer that just happens to be named Frank Martin goes to a cabin to get away from his family and try to do some writing. And the cabin like kind of prevents him from writing. Like weird things start happening and torturing him, and he just wants to get his comic writing done. So that was my Bo Burnham book, if that makes any sense. So Bo Burnham is very personal in his comedy and his shows. He bares his soul and talks about that. And I wanted to put out a work that kind of does that. You know, I took my imposter syndrome and all my frustrations and feelings, and I just threw it into a story. And this is what the result is. So
that sounds fascinating. I don't know if you know this, but I am huge into cabin stories.
Yeah. So that's why I say Evil Dead. I mean, it's not the same as Evil Dead because it doesn't involve summoning demons and stuff, but it is. Yeah. It's so Cabin 818. The number is kind of, or the title scheme is similar to Stephen King's Room 1408. If you ever seen that movie, it's kind of like,
yes.
So it's the same vibe. Instead of being in a room that's weird crap is happening, you're in a cabin with weird crap happening.
Which is even more horrifying because you're in a cabin with weird stuff happening as well. But no, yeah, there was one year I drove myself insane, drawing pinkish brown because I did all the horror cabins like you could possibly think of, and there's so many. Having to mix brown paint drove me into the
funny.
I haven't finished line work on 5 of them.
It's very funny you say that because I actually submitted it to a publisher and he goes, Frank, this is a great story. We love it, but it's very brown. There's brown everywhere. I'm like, it's in a cabin. What do you want from me? Like, it's cabins are brown.
Which is why I think the Evil Dead, then when they amped it up and they made it more pinkish on the interior when like weird stuff was happening, kind of probably helped them a little bit because it broke up all that brown. That's some good stuff. But yeah, I really, really enjoyed where the nightmares are. The artist in that, it was so good. Such a cute style.
I'm commissioning him to do a cover for the Fart Bomb too, so that's gonna be fun. And I think people are gonna like this. I'm looking into doing a scratch and sniff cover. Oh my god!
How do you product test the fart smell? Let me make you big for this. I want to know about this. This is the details we need in our life.
Samples are in the mail as we speak, so I will keep you updated.
Oh. Please do. I need to know my fart bomb journey, please.
Well, the fart bomb is I just love doing fun stuff, so I'm looking into weird, goofy stuff for this campaign. Scratch and sniff cover. I think I'm gonna do like whoopee cushions as a reward or something. So I just like having this is goofy stuff. I like having fun with it. Yeah.
Oh man, this would also be a really good thing too. Like, you could cosplay. Kids could cosplay this character easily. And have a lot of fun with it at cons. Let me tell you, they're gonna go bananas. I bet. Yeah,
I'm sure their parents will love it.
Oh, they're buying their costume now. Just say that's what's happened. Yeah, everyone loves a good horror story, but
should we keep going? Should we go down the list?
We can keep. Well, let's see. We are at about an hour, so we want to do a couple more. Then we can chat about some stuff and head on out.
The Art of Life is it's a more serious book. It's a gothic horror story about a painter in the 17th century who's depressed after the death of his wife, and this wealthy patron kind of hires him to do this job of finding this mythic paint that's supposed to bring paintings to life. You know, it's a slow burn gothic horror story, so it's way different than anything else I've done, but I'm into it. I love all sorts of stories, so that's kind of that fits that little niche that I love. Anything art related, anything weird gothic related, anything horror related, and if you could mix all of those in between somehow, I will watch that any day, read that any day. Thank you, Angry Straight White Male. It's been a pleasure getting to know you over the past couple of days, and come back next time. We will talk more comics in Dragon Ball and Feet at some time. Yeah. Thank you. Thanks for chiming in.
So I'm excited for the rest of your campaigns because you have the fourth wall coming up, which I have been dropping the links in chat. So if you guys want to just go sign up for the pre-launch, that is happening right now. And then when do you expect to be going active for that one?
July 1st is the plan.
July 1st? Okay, yeah. So you got plenty of time to go and rally the people. So go share out his links as well so we can get lots of eyes on that campaign.
I'm doing something weird in July in that Backer Kit, they have crowdfunding too, and they're doing something called Comictopia, which is like a big comic kind of event with crowdfunding. And I had a book that I was just going to release for free digitally, but I'm going to jump on this Comictopia thing. So for 2 days, Fourth Wallflower and this new book are going to overlap. So I'm going to have 2 campaigns running at the same time. And then this campaign is going to go into August. And nice. you might like the premise of this campaign. It's kind of a high concept art house kind of stories where I'm describing it as it's a hostage situation. You know, a bank robber is stuck in a bank, and the cops want him to come out and release all the hostages, but he killed all of them already, and they start haunting him inside the bank.
Oh no, I'm down.
So it's it's another one that it was like I had this idea and I'm like, how do I pull this off? You know, how do I have this bank robber haunted by his own victims during a hostage crisis? So it's gonna be cool. I'm looking forward to it.
Fantastic. Yeah. I'm also looking for whenever you guys get together to do the trade of the first series of the hospice. Plus anything new. Oh my gosh, let's go. I'm so excited for that.
Yeah, I gotta hit up. Every once in a while we kind of slap Travis around and say, what's the deal with it? So we gotta get our act. It's hard to we all have our own projects and we all keep moving forward. So it's hard to look back and say, now this thing we did in the past, let's put it back in the present. So
dude,
we'll get there.
Yeah,
you
guys took over Kickstarter for that whole whatever month-long process, 2 months maybe, for the hospice. It was a lot, but I enjoyed watching every single one of the podcasts that you guys popped up on because I was like, oh my god, it's so amazing.
Yeah. It was. I had fun too with the way we kind of unveiled this project because I wrote up basically a mission statement. So the in-universe brand of hospice is called Rising Suns Hospice. And I released like an in-universe mission statement talking about, hey, we want to kind of like cater people as they move on to the afterlife. And then it was name of all of our creators that were involved. And people were like, what is this? I have no idea what this is. And then I released a follow-up where I did like a demonic version of the mission statements. So it was kind of cool to like play around with marketing and unveiling and all that stuff to try to generate buzz for it.
Let me see if I can just pull this up. Okay, so this is already the campaign that has ended, but I just want to open it so that we can look at this real quick so you guys can understand what I'm talking about, why I'm geeking out so hard.
Is it mine? Is it mine?
Yes, of course. I'm going to go to yours.
You don't have to. It's a shared universe.
It was, but come on, we got. No, I want to show your guy because this guy's awesome. Look at this guy. Can we zoom in on this guy? Yeah, here. There we go.
What's his name? I forget his name. Lester. I think his name is Charles.
Good name Lester. For a serial killer is always Lester, by the way. Let me get on this because like I said, that creepy face, that smile, that's what I'm talking about right there. That's what I was talking about right there.
I think that panel's on the first page too.
It's so good. It is so creepy.
So
I believe that was the first page.
Yeah. So that's how you're introduced to him.
You're just like, hey.
And he did these, and also Claudio did these weird little like details that I even put in the script. So when he gets on the van, so when he's transferred to the hospice, he gets out of prison and he gets on the van. Claudio did this thing where he angles the van so that his fat weight like makes it like buckle a little bit. So it's like little details that when you can tell when an artist is really into a story when they do stuff like that.
Oh, I loved it. It made so much more sense too, because when you read the end, you're like, what? And then you're like, oh, that makes sense. And you're like, oh, dude.
I love having opportunities, stories like this where you could just, how depraved can I get? Like how
clearly as depraved as Travis let you guys go because you guys did a whole weird creepy thing for this entire campaign. But look at this. Oh, let me see if I can open this. There we go. Look. It's just that just speaks volumes right there.
Yeah. So
I said you need to know. Yes.
I said I wanted you. So the cover concept, I said I want you to him cooking a foot in a frying pan, and he's like, I can't really do a foot. It doesn't work. But how about fingers? And I was like, works. It works. It works.
The fingers in the pan were so creepy. I think it might have been more creepy than a foot. Because a foot to me, when I see foot, stew. I think stew, crock pot. But sauteing a hand to make it crispy, like chicken feet, makes sense.
He looks like he's sauteing shrimp. And then you get closer and it's their fingers.
It's fabulous. I am so heavily into this. You have no idea.
And I love the tongue he has sticking out of his mouth.
Like I said, that weird mouth. It's like this baby mouth, like on this giant head. It's amazing. But it also has full teeth. You're like, why is there a giant baby mouth on this guy? But this is so good. So yeah, see, look up close. He did. So the artist did some cool panels where it was just up close on that mouth. And it made you even more horrified because of his mouth. Because you're like, he eats weird stuff. You're like, you automatically know he be eating weird stuff. I don't think he just ate one. He ate several. Because in it, they tell you he's 666 pounds. It's a lot of babies. Yeah. Yeah.
I'm just. This is what I like when I write this stuff. Sometimes I just think, what will make me laugh.
Clearly, this guy, and then this is some of the other ones that you guys had in here.
These are all the other hospice campaigns. They're part of the
Yeah.
shared universe.
Oh,
They all
so
use
cool.
the same concept. So
super cool. And I like how the art and the storytelling is different on each one, but it all kind of like works together. There's you. Yeah. But this guy is so creepy. I love this guy. Yeah. It's amazing. You got to get it. You got to see it. So is this available anywhere now that the campaign is over to purchase, like digitally or anything?
I don't know. I mean, we kind of all did our own thing, so we might all have them available different places.
Oh, okay.
But we definitely have plans to collect them in their trade. So that would be the big opportunity for
everybody. They gotta be, yeah. Look at just look at the sheer volume of Lester. Just
he's one of
Lester.
So I'm doing this thing where I have a thank you card that I send to all my backers. And I'm putting different characters on the thank you card, so they're not all the same. I have Pinocchio. I got David with his fart bomb. Maybe I should put the Catskill Cannibal on there. I don't know. I might creep some people out.
You might have to. Okay.
I don't want to be too creepy because not everybody enjoys a nice, good, obese cannibal. Not everybody.
They need to, because that's the best. I'm just saying. Just saying something extra sinister about that, because you know what he's doing and eating. He's doing it a lot. Just saying. Yeah. But for the fart bomb campaign, thank you notes. I'm telling you right now, when it opens up, pop up, but have like the green iridescent fart. You know, just like whoop. Yeah. Yes. Kev. Yes. Eat me, eat you.
Yeah, I kind of want to do a prequel, a little hospice prequel that shows the Catskill Cannibal on the prowl. You know.
Yes, because we never figured out, did we, how long his reign of terror has lasted?
No, it's kind of like Silence of the Lambs with Hannibal Lecter. He starts in prison, so you never get to see him in all his glory. Yes,
and this is full glory. Let me tell you, if you have not witnessed Lester, you are not witnessing true glory. It's fabulous. Oh, is there a video? Hold up. What's this video all about?
Oh, that's I do theme songs for all of my campaigns. So that might be the theme song.
Well, okay, I'm gonna do that. I'm gonna do that. And then we're gonna watch this because we gotta watch.
It's not a video, it might just be music.
That's fine. I don't care. I'll watch the theme song. Lester. Let's go. Okay.
So from all my campaigns, I have a buddy, Lane Thomas, who does music, and I just send him the books that I make, and I say, make a theme song, and he does. And it doesn't matter what it is, fantasy, action, horror, comedy. He just makes a phenomenal theme song based on the book, and I offer them as rewards. So eventually I'll have to do a little album of all this stuff.
He nailed Lester Goes to Eat Dinner theme song. And Kelly wants to know, can you make him prowl on a scooter? You know, in the prequel,
have to be industrial sized. You know, that would be a great image. You know, just this fat, creepy guy on a scooter looking around for
and it's going really slow because the weight of the said scooter is max limits, like a razor scooter.
Now I just imagine him in the skate park, just doing flips and spinning around and stuff.
That's how he finds his victims. He goes there and he acts like he's, perfectly in sync with those around him, and he's scoping out the little,
What's up, fellow teenagers? Who wants to come over for dinner?
Yeah. No cap, for real. All that hipster talk. Yeah. Is he gonna eat the chef?
No spoilers.
No, I'm not gonna tell you. You got to read this, Callie. You would absolutely love this. Yeah, we got to figure out where this is at. So when the trade comes out, everybody can go get it because it's so good. Callie. Yeah, you would really love it. Callie and Kev for sure. You guys would be devouring this whole thing. But
Do I have it for available on my website? Let me go see.
I'm not sure. I got to like 2 parts of it, but yeah, here. Let me just show you. This is like the first page where we see Lester.
I do have a digital and a print copy available on my website.
Ooh, okay, perfect. Yeah, check that out. I dropped a link down below, but yeah, look, this is him walking around. Yeah, the art style is it's got that really gritty darkness to it that I absolutely like, and it just goes so well with the story and the theme. But yeah, get honest, Callie. You're
go. Can you go up a little bit?
Up.
Yeah. Oh, so it's on the second panel. Oh no, it's the very first panel.
That is the very first panel. Yeah, he is just creeping out happily. He's like so overjoyed because he's getting released into hospice.
Yeah, he's dying because he's so fat, and so that's the premise that allows him to go into hospice.
Yes.
And people are protesting outside the prison because he's a serial killer that gets to live out his life in the care of a nice hospice.
Here. This is the panel that you were talking about with the van.
Yeah, in the bottom.
Yeah.
And he put a little like I didn't write that either. He put a little like wench in there to kind of pull him up.
Oh yeah, because that's a hefty getting him up there would be hard work. But yeah, it makes complete sense when you see this. Like try to get up in there. And I like that they have the oversized just computer chair just sitting in there. Like they gave him a chair. I think like what's his face was just tossed on the ground in the van. You could hear him breathing. Yes.
Yeah, total mouth breather. Just
all mouth. Yeah, for sure.
He's definitely a fun character. It was not just the gratuitous nature of the art too. I had fun with the dialogue. You know, you get to really lean into the cringy and the corny with stuff like this. Yes. Like I can't wait to have my meal. I mean, that won't work in a regular story, but with stuff like this, you so expect it to be like that you could really lean into it.
Look at the just happiness on his face that he's gonna finally eat his cuisine that he loves, and he's so excited. He's like can't contain himself. And then you got the shelf here that is so excited about serving him gourmet food. Yes. Oh, it's fantastic. Yeah. Oh no, I'm so hyped about this. Look at him. Look at the mouth kills me every time. Every freaking time. Just this right there. Look at it. I might want to draw him now. That's how much I like Lester. Listen.
He's a big dude. I never noticed this. He doesn't have any shoes on.
Okay. What size are those feet? And do you think he has shoes that he could fit into? Because that is like, okay, his one big toe is like half the size of my foot.
These are things that I'm noticing about my own comics as we're going through this. I never noticed he never had shoes on.
Well, it makes sense though, because how are they gonna get him in there? Those are some massive tootsies. Yeah.
He's got some dogs.
You do have some dogs, but yeah, so that is hospice. So go check that out. You said it was on the website, and people can go.
It's on the store on my website. Yeah, I have a digital version and a print version.
All right, hold on. Let's get back to our faces. There we go. Well, that has been so much fun. Please come back again when you have another Kickstarter. We'll gladly go over that again. Hopefully everybody comes back in here and goes and follows your campaign, goes and follows you because you're awesome. And yes, you have a ton of work, so go check it out. Go check out the short stories, the one shots, your novel section, upcoming stuff. Your pro farts campaigns, and yes, Shelby feet. Yes. Oh, here, let me do the doodad thingy here. I lost everybody. Okay, you. I'll get to your profile. Okay, here. I'm just gonna plop you on Twitter real quick. Plop. Go. Oh my god, I can't click nothing. Did I click it? No, I didn't click it. Yay! I am working. Yes, go follow him there. You can also follow him on Instagrams. Same thing, Frank the Writer. What's up, Jeremy? Yeah, you guys came in at the right time. Weirdo Lester and his feet. That's exactly what you did. Perfect timing. Perfect timing. But no, it's been an absolute pleasure chatting with you about your books. And I'm very excited to see what else you have in store for us in the future, because I literally devoured 5 of the PDFs you sent me earlier today. And I was like, it's all the good stuff.
Well, thank you for the opportunity.
You're welcome. Oh, you want more clickety clack? You can't tell me nothing there, Shelby, when you pay feeding the ducks a max volume on every one of your streams. Pretty much annoys the crap out of everybody. Before we head out, are you going to be at any cons coming up or any other appearances?
Sure. I am. I'm in New York. We have a local con here in Westchester County that I'm going to be at June 29th and 30th. And then in November, that same location is going to do that horror and tattoo con. And I have a press pass for New York Comic Con. So I'm going to try to be there all 4 days.
Nice. I hope you run around. Meet a lot of, actually, there's several people that will be going. I know CJ's not here right now, but he probably will be going to that because he missed Heroes Con, which is sad. Hopefully everybody can go meet you in all the places. And also, are you going to get wrangled into getting a horror tattoo at the con?
I have 0 tattoos, 0, which is weird for I guess a weird horror writer. But I never say never, so we'll see.
You never know. You never know. You can get roped into doing a horror convention. So it's facts.
When in Rome.
When in Rome, you might walk out with a fart bomb tattoo. You don't know yet. You don't know.
When you walk around a convention floor and you see nothing but tattoo artists, I mean, it might be difficult to just walk out empty-handed.
Yeah, especially when you see all the art and you get amped up at the moment. I know. I've recently started going to local ones here and been partying with the Juggalos because I love the con so much. Yeah. So we're gonna get out of here. It's getting late. You probably you've got the children's and everything.
I have to make sure they're still alive.
Yeah, and plus the one is a troublemaker, clearly by the book that you're writing. So
they're all troublemakers in their own right.
As they should be, because children should be troublemakers. You know, don't trust a quiet child. You don't know. Yes. Oh my God. Get hot. You know, Lester's feet were so large. The toes did look like you were looking at hot dogs straight on.
Little sausages.
Little sausages. Yes. So go get that. But yes, thank you for joining me. And thanks to everyone in the chat that was hanging with us. Currently, we have 44 people. Shout out 44 people. Let's go. Yeah, hot dogs tat. There you go. You've got.
It's thundering here and the light's flickering a little bit, so we might. If I vanish, you'll know why.
Oh my, yeah, we're gonna be popping out of here in a second. Yes. So what you could do is get the hot dog tattoo, but the fart bomb stink coming out
of it.
Yeah, yeah. Condiment packs. Okay, yeah, we're definitely getting out of here. You guys are coming in with the hot dog chat again. You know we're pro hot dogs here. It's fine. Oh, but yes, go check him out in the New York area. He's got all the good, lovely stuff coming up. Horror cons. If you're there, go check him out. And then go look him at New York Comic Con, plus your Kickstarter, your Instagram, your Twitter. Good times. All right, we're going to get out of here. Bye.